K-Flock was arrested for taking the life of Oscar Hernandez on December 23, 2021, wearing the same $4,000 designer outfit that he was flexing on IG Live 5 hours before the crime. Fans knew instantly that it was K-Flock when the NYPD put out a wanted poster all over New York City. However, after sitting in jail for over 3 years, the same New York police would end up indicting K-Flock for a RICO charge, worrying his millions of fans and family, ultimately leading to K-Flock sharing this message from jail.
I know what's going on, man. Flock, I know something, man. Like, me to the guys, man. Hey, yo, like, I'll be back real soon. Shout out to my fans and my supporters, man. I love all y'all, man. For all of you out there, violence, man. For me, and do what y'all supposed to do, man. Get through life correctly, bro. Like, get money.
As K-Flock would catch a lot of hate online about his legal issues, throwing away his early and promising music career, destroying his name, leading into his best friend having to calm down the storm while K-Flock was in jail.
Okay, but so I saw some fans who were off at both me and academics after K-Flock got locked up because, well, just because I guess, like, you know, in our tone when we talked about it, you know, it might have seemed like we were being a little too presumptuous. But is that weird for you? Because I'm sure you see people all the way from rappers to whoever acting like, you know, your boy is just done and he's cooked in this situation.
I ain't gonna lie, people, especially people that don't even be knowing, like, y'all don't even know what's going on, bro. Yeah.
However, to understand exactly how K-Flock lost his life, you first need to understand the truth behind the passing of Oscar Hernandez. I was able to pull the court files from the NYPD. It goes and reads that on December 23rd, 2021, New York rapper K-Flock, otherwise known as Kevin Perez, was involved in a situation leading into the passing of a man named Oscar Hernandez. On this day, Kevin Perez was walking down the street in New York City alongside his sister as well as his sister's friend. As from the photos you see here, K-Flock was seen walking past a barbershop wearing a $4,000 designer outfit that he was flexing on Instagram Live just 5 hours before the crime. While walking past the barbershop, sources allege that K-Flock was staring on the inside at somebody waiting in line for their haircut who would end up being Oscar Hernandez. Staring for a good 5 to 10 seconds, Oscar Hernandez would then be seen sprinting out of the barbershop as witnesses to the crime allege that Oscar screamed, "What are you looking at?" while also holding what looks like a firearm in his pocket. This would then lead into K-Flock turning around, telling his sister to move back, while K-Flock would then approach him halfway. An argument would brew up between Oscar Hernandez and K-Flock, where court files suggest that Oscar Hernandez was then trying to make a quick move as if he was about to pull a firearm from out of his pocket. However, K-Flock was more ready and a lot quicker than Oscar was, where he would then pull out his firearm, leading into Oscar Hernandez turning around, trying to sprint away. K-Flock would end up using his firearm, thinking that it was in self-defense, but Oscar Hernandez never pulled out his firearm. He would end up connecting two to Oscar while he was running back into the barbershop for help. Hernandez would later pass from his injuries at the local NYC hospital. All that was left at the scene was shell casings and the sandals that Hernandez was wearing. The case was cold for 24 hours. No one understood what just happened or who even committed the crime, as K-Flock was wearing a shiesty. This was, however, until the NYPD posted the photo of the main suspect, asking for help from the public, as millions of fans would immediately begin tweeting back to the NYPD that it was K-Flock, as the designer outfit that he was wearing, he was flexing on Instagram just a few hours before the crime. The NYPD would then put a warrant out for K-Flock's arrest. Before turning himself in, Flock would hire one of the best lawyers in New York City, where then he and his lawyer would walk into the NYPD 30th precinct, to which his lawyer would then put out a statement. "I accompanied Kevin, K-Flock, as he self-surrendered to detectives in the 30th precinct. Arrangements were immediately made with the NYPD once I learned that he was wanted. As to the charges against him, we have begun our own investigation into these allegations." More importantly, considering the DA's significant disclosure this morning that the NYPD received a tip saying that someone else was the hitter, we demanded the DA's office provide disclosure of the videos referenced in the complaint and more information on the tip. We will address bail once we've had a chance to review the case. As when fans heard that K-Flock was wanted, they would end up calling the police station trying to save their New York drill rapper king, giving the police false information that somebody else was the hitter in the crime. This is what stalled the arrest for quite some time. However, new evidence shares that it was K-Flock. As K-Flock's lawyer would then be given all of the evidence of the crime, finding out that it was a troll call, he would then release a statement saying that K-Flock was acting in self-defense.
When the guy hits the ground and is found, he's got a loaded that was in his pocket that his hand was on at the time. You know, we consider that to be self-defense.
So he did take him in self-defense.
That's what the allegation is. You know, I don't want to talk too much about the details of the case, but the government claims that he pulled the. But at the same time, the person that was around had his hand on a loaded, illegal loaded, apparently about Kevin.
Okay. So without saying too much, you're arguing obviously self-defense. That's the crux.
You know, that could be one of the arguments, self-defense. And I would say to the public, you know, somebody's walking up to you with a loaded, it's pretty clear is going to use it, with a criminal record a mile long. Do you want to get, or do you not want to?
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't hesitate to pull the.
After this statement was released, the NYPD would then release their own statement. The NYPD believes this was an incident of street-related acts due to K-Flock's documented affiliation with the Bronx-based Third Side Street team. It was documented that K-Flock was heavily involved in street-related acts within his time in the free world. Being a big-name figure in New York City, he had lots of control on situations, but he was also a main target when his ops would retaliate. Now, due to those reasons, K-Flock and his lawyers were convinced, and they were even making the claim the situation was an act of self-defense. K-Flock's lawyers were very positive they would have beat the case and the rapper would have been released very soon, as even rappers would begin to react.
What's it like for you watching the K-Flock thing happen? That's crazy. Next big artist coming out of New York.
I love Flock, so I like that. I like that. That's my guy.
Okay.
But you know, I'm wishing him the best right now, you know what I'm saying? And you know, for the alleged charges they pushing on him, you know what I'm saying? I'm wishing his family the best. I'm wishing the whole team the best and everything, you know what I'm saying? And I hope he beat them alleged charges, you know what I'm saying? Because he got a lot of future brightness. He got, and I hope, you know what I'm saying? Everything just wake all the young kids up, like how fat it is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That would be a sad story if that's the end of it.
No, we ain't gonna think like that, you know what I'm saying?
You gotta stay positive.
As once things are starting to look great for K-Flock and his lawyers were building the evidence proving it is self-defense, his life would dramatically change. As the following day it would be announced, Bronx drill rapper K-Flock was just indicted by a federal grand jury for a bunch of new racketeering conspiracy charges, otherwise known as RICO. This had hip-hop creators reacting saying, K-Flock just caught a RICO, it's really over. To even DJ Academic saying, the feds just unsealed an indictment on K-Flock for a RICO. The mandatory minimum if he doesn't beat those charges or snitch is life inside of prison. He's already still facing state charges that have him locked up. Pray for him. As this situation relates perfectly to what Boosie said about YNW Melly. When the feds want you, they'll do anything to get you.
Now they're putting even more charges on him, and then
when they want you, they want you. I knew they wanted him bad when they waited for that law to get passed. They waited all the way.
Penalty.
So it'd be 8-4.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You know, they waited all the way till that law got passed to take him to trial.
Yeah, he was in jail for what, 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah. They could have been took you to trial.
You're right.
They waited till that law got passed and took him to trial a couple months later. When they want you, man. Just don't see how he didn't get a bond after a fucking mistrial.
Yeah.
That made me like, God damn.
Yeah.
Like, after a mistrial, that doesn't happen, really.
As K-Flock had enough evidence to try and prove that it was self-defense. However, everything turned right upside down. Even his lawyers would go on to agree that it seems corrupt. He would end up reacting, saying, and I quote, "We're not surprised by the federal charges, as we have been defending Kevin's state charges for over a year now. Considering the incident was a clear act of self-defense, it wasn't a particularly strong charge, but now that it's being used as a basis for a possible penalty charge is extraordinary. On video, it is crystal clear that Kevin was about to be affected after attempting to walk away from the other person. Only then did Kevin use an item to defend himself from another armed team member who was about to pull his firearm from out of his pocket. Now, the feds are trying to use all tactics to get evidence on K-Flock to make sure he never leaves prison again. Academics would tweet, K-Flock's co-defendant Sticky says that they came to him asking him to snitch on K-Flock, and he told them, no, I'll see you in 30 years. Sharing this Instagram photo with Sticky and K-Flock on the street in New York City. As Sticky would write a caption, and I quote, "We did stuff at RL together. I guess we gotta defend our freedom against these people together too. It's all fun and games until them people come." They said, and I quote, "Tell us about Kevin. Help yourself, 30 years is a long time." I responded, "I guess I'll see you in 30 years. As the scariest part of it all, there's 12 members indicted on K-Flock's RICO case. The police, they're only asking about evidence for K-Flock. The police only want him and nobody else.